And now we move on to our next presenter. And she's from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. And Elisa is going to present on the nature-based solutions global standard as a tool for ecosystem-based DRR. It's a very complex, thing, but I hope you'll simplify it. Thank you.
So the pointer is there. No, okay. Yeah, I guess. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm Elisa Cavato. I work for the International Union of Conservation of Nature, and I will talk to you today about the nature-based solutions global standard as a tool for ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction. And I will make sure you will understand what all this means at the end of the presentation. So I want to start to let you think about nature as an opportunity. So in these days, yesterday was at the early warning system workshop, and I really got a feeling that nature is often felt as a threat to us. But I would like you to reflect also how nature is an opportunity, not only because you can enjoy the beautiful landscape when you go hiking in nature, but also because nature is important for reducing risk and building resilience. And I want to take the opportunity to cite two very nice quotes. One is, "Nature is our best bet to tackle climate change and secure the future," from Joyce Msuya. And just this morning, it was mentioned that the importance of nature on mitigating disaster. And this is really important to remember, taking consideration nowadays where climate change is increasing the frequency and the strength of natural hazards. So we need to think about how today nature can offer an additional approach for disaster risk reduction. And this is what we call ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction. So at IUCN, we work with more than 10,000 experts in different fields to gather scientific knowledge and knowledge from the communities. And we work to have direct benefits for people and nature. And we do this, then try to influence, to have an impact on policy. And while doing this, we try to also represent the view of our 1,300 member organizations, including government, state, NGOs, and local communities organizations. So at the International Union for Conservation of Nature, in the ecosystem program, we work specifically on ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction. What it is exactly? Ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, which I will call now Eco-DRR, work with the sustainable management, restoration, and conservation of ecosystem to provide services that reduce the disaster risk by mitigating hazards and by increasing livelihood resilience. For example, we can have restoration of wetlands for flood protection, or we can have sustainable drylands management that can build resilience to droughts. And these are just few of the examples of how ecosystem-based approach can help disaster risk reduction. So I want to give you an example now of a part of a big project that was done in Nepal and in many countries. Nepal is a beautiful country that is 80% constituted of mountains and with a very high annual rainfall from 1,000 to 5,000 millimeters. And 80% of this rainfall is during the monsoon season, as most of you might know. And we have severe flash flooding and landslides, and there is a high rate of natural erosion and transport and deposition of sediments. And so due to this geological structure of Nepal and the steep topography, due to the change in temperature and rainfall, also due to climate change, there have been more extreme events, especially with landslides and floods, which unfortunately cause a lot of loss of lives. But as I said at the beginning of the presentation, I want to think about the positive aspect of nature in this talk. There has also been an increased construction of rural roads that unfortunately, after the first monsoon, immediately were destroyed because they were not built in the best sustainable way. So what we did, what has been done in this project, there have been built eco-safe roads, through nature-based solution in different way, with soil bioengineering, ecosystem management, and community resilience. For example, through several pilot studies, have been found different local plants that have been planted on the road, as you can see here. And these plants have deep roots in the soil and a big network, web network of roots that can really hold on the soil and retain the water. And this has really helped to stabilize the soil and to stabilize these roads. And this has provided a lot of also safety and security in the people living there. So if you're more curious about this, I invite you to look at the one of the video on the website where we really talk to the communities, and you can really feel how, first of all, empowering them was very important, and how they feel safe now to live in their own country and in their own house. So the problem is that there is a potential for ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, but is this really evident or not? Because we see that there are still unsustainable design projects, there is a lack of global mainstreaming, and there is a need for more evidence that this project works. And so with the IUCN, we are developing global standards for nature-based solutions, which is a tool for effective and inclusive ecosystem disaster risk reduction. So, the definition of nature-based solution is a bit complex, but I will guide you through it. So nature-based solutions are actions to protect, manage, and restore natural or modified ecosystems which address societal challenges effectively and adaptively, providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. I will just give you a few seconds to read this through. It's complex, but it makes sense. So nature-based solutions can also be thought as hybrid solution. Doesn't have to be just green. We can also include green infrastructure to help the protection of people. So, for example, having synergies between natural infrastructure and green infrastructure, we also are implementing a nature-based solution. And in this example, I just quickly, in this cartoon, show you how here we have a coastal area where we have a coastal forest, some mangroves, some human settlement, and some human settlement in the ecosystem. Through time, the ecosystem has been degraded. For example, we are missing here the mangroves, all the mangroves forest, and natural hazards like flooding will have a higher impact now on the natural communities because of this. So if now we made an ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction approach, we can replant the mangroves. We can also include a flood wall here. And this will help protecting, again, the community, restoring the environment, and together with nature and green infrastructure, we can bring, again, this community to a good living. So nature-based solutions are, together, ecosystem management, disaster risk reduction, and climate adaptation for sustainable development. So applying nature-based solutions, we are doing all this. And nature-based solutions are also an action bottom-up. So first, with the community, we identify the problem and we provide a solution. This action, the action we take then is based on science and on the knowledge of the community as well. Then we try to influence the policy, and thanks to the formulation of a policy, then we have benefit the community, and the circle goes again. And all this is very important to ensure that the community is empowered and is knowledgeable for what they're doing. For example, I bring in the example of Switzerland. Switzerland invests every year a lot of money for forest management, for hazard reduction. So when Swiss people pay taxes for the roads, they also actually pay a little percentage to improve the forest. And this is less expensive than engineered structure for protection from landslide, rockfalls, and avalanche, and also as an additional recreation and different values, like also carbon sequestration, which is very important. So why we need a global standard? I still have some time, okay. A global standard is needed because, for several reasons. First of all, we need to build a common language of understanding. A lot of nature-based solutions have already been implemented in the past. We just didn't call them like this. It's not the first time we are implementing this. But it's very important to track them. So if we build a common language, we can track them, we can increase the demand, and we can make use of their full potential. And also it's important to safeguard nature from over-exploitation and to engage new stakeholders. And also it's important to have a global standard to know what do I need to do if I want to implement a nature-based solution. Because without the guidelines, you wouldn't know what to do. And for now, the global standard for nature-based solution includes 7 criteria. They are listed here. It's nature and biodiversity, transparency and inclusion, adaptive management, governance and monitoring, trade-offs, land seascape scale, synergies and mainstreaming. And we are going now through the first round of consultation for these standards, and which look like this for now. And we invite you, to, if you want, to take part to the second round of consultation that will start the second half of June. Because for us, it's very important to the point of view from different stakeholders, from different people that have different knowledge, in a way that this nature-based solution global standard is the most inclusive possible. You can act in many ways. You can offer pilot case studies. You can contact us. And what I want you to think about is also, what I want you to bring home is that nature is an opportunity, and we need to include it for our safeness. And also, I want you to think if now nature-based solution you think can be used for disaster risk reduction in your project and in your country. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention. We also have a booth just there. The PDRR is the booth number 18, so we are happy to give you more information. And I forgot about this. And yes, publication. There are any questions? Any kind of question? Then I have one for you. What do you think if I say nature? Which kind of word comes in mind to you now? Yes. Which one?
Wetland. Wetland ecosystems.
Wetland ecosystem.
Yeah, wetland.
Wetland, okay. Yeah. So, okay, an ecosystem, that's good. Something else? We have still 3 minutes. I think green. Peter, what do you think if I say nature?
I think a lot in these opportunities you mentioned.
Thank you. I heard something. Trees. Okay, good. So everything positive. We are not thinking about negative things. That's very good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Very interesting presentation. Also, very happy to know that the standard is being developed.
Yes.
My question is, if we talk about nature-based solutions, we talk about a real integrated approach involving multi-stakeholders, local communities. Are you not afraid that if we develop a standard, it will be considered as a bit of a toolbox, an easy-to-fix thing? While we as environmental organization, I'm working for Wetlands International, really approach this as a fully integrated solution.
Okay, I see. So the idea is that, well, these standards are very thorough. So in order to apply and call something a nature-based solution, the protocol to follow is kind of thorough. So you need to involve communities, but also you always need the support of scientists or organizations. So I'm not really afraid of that because I think that it's important that we build this network. I don't think that communities will just take this over and do. And if they can still do a good job following the standard, that's great. And I think it's very important that we try to make this feasible for everyone. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah. Well, I think nature-based solutions, they might sound a little bit technical, while what we aim for is a full landscape level approach involving all the stakeholders in the landscape, even if they have different interests, and trying to ensure that there's a kind of approach which can take care for mutual gains for all the stakeholders.
Yes, I see the point, but I think this is reflected in the guidelines, in the standards. But I would be happy to talk more about this and see if something is missing. Of course, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there an opportunity for people, for stakeholders, to contribute to this standard?
Yes, there will be the second round of consultations starting for June, and so you can contact. Thanks. There is an address here where you can ask, and we will be happy to include you in the consultations. Yes, this email here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisa.